So, hello out there. I hope you're all doing well in this crazy season, and the heat, of course, too. New Zealand's heating up a wee bit now, and no doubt Australia is, ladies. But our little chat today, we're all feeling a little like we had to really get our head in the game to be online even on times. So who knows what's going to come out today, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, we'll just carry on and see. But welcome again, Bev and Claudia.
Thanks, Mandy.
Thanks, Mandy. Posting it to my Facebook.
Yeah, that's what I was doing too.
Yeah, I'll just alter the audience status on this.
Oh, that's a smart move.
If I can. I have to do it on my phone. So excuse me, head down for a moment. So today's topic is about mucking up and enjoying mucking up.
Oh.
So, you know, do we enjoy mucking up?
I just zipped back to my teenage years as soon as you said that.
Yeah.
I know.
I did enjoy it. I mucked up a lot in my teenage years.
Oh, look, hey, I totally, me too. And there's a lot of shame that comes with mucking up. You know, we talked about this on the shame, didn't we?
Yeah.
But there is, you know, you feel there's you really take it in, and you really give yourself a hard time when you muck up, depending on how bad it is and all that sort of thing. But I've really come to see the gold nuggets that you get, the wisdom that comes out of it, and it's always for a purpose. There's always a great purpose in it, isn't there? Teaching us something.
Yeah, I think it, for me, making mistakes and humor go together. I think it has to.
Yeah.
Because if you take life too seriously, because growing up, making mistakes was really frowned upon in my family. And so I got this perfectionism thing going on. And
yeah, same.
It strangles you. It's like really limiting. So I think making mistakes and being able to laugh at yourself while you're doing it and having fun when you're doing it, and seeing the side of mucking up that brings something to your life that you know, that it gives you, as you were saying, Mandy, it gives you a gift. I think that's really important. And I was watching a video, I think it was yesterday, and this girl was talking about how her dad used to celebrate her failures, and it allowed her to reframe the meaning behind failure. And so she started to realize that if she wasn't failing, she wasn't trying. And so failing to her was part of life. And I think that's really, that's a gift. When you can see that side of failing, I think that's like where the you know, that
the gold nuggets.
Yes, exactly, where the gold nuggets are. Exactly.
Oh, and we're so trained at school not to muck up. Like you get 100%. Wow, we think you're blooming marvelous. But if you fail, that's a really big black mark against you.
Yeah.
It's like, and that, yes, that's all right. I just went back to expectations from most parents. Is you come home with a good report. Oh, yeah, good Johnny. But if you come home and you've failed, well, you know, you're put in the naughty corner.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And you know, it comes down to as well, I think, how much comes back at you and how you deal with it in the moment. So if it's something really wicked and we have really bad, you know, conscious about that, we're really consciously not feeling good about it, we'll often get something like in the belief of punishment. So I've done something wrong, I've mucked up, so there's going to be punishment now, you know, that sort of thing. But often, depending on how you work it, you can just sort of escape some of that stuff and coming back at you, you know, when you click on to how you created it. But there's those ones I was thinking about this. There's those ones where it's sort of like something's hiding the truth of a lot of stuff in it, and then all of a sudden it's like all of this stuff unfolds, and then here's the reality is that yes, you've mucked up, not in the intention at all of what you thought, but because of the way other things were formulating around it, it's created into a really big, they're sort of like those real surprise ones, you know, where you really didn't realize that was going to be the outcome at all. They're sort of like, I always remember somebody said to me, those ones that come out of the blue, you know, any of the learning lessons that we have that just turn up out of the blue, those are from God as such. And, you know, they're those little trip ups that we have that really give us some of those really hard gold nugget type of wisdoms that we've learned.
Yeah, you've got an example of that, because I've just gone.
Oh God, Bev, I can't.
I'm sure you have somewhere.
I will have. I do have, exactly, but I can't think right at this moment. I will though.
Yeah.
I'll think about it and try and get them to come in. But yeah, just things that I remember having a conversation. I was at a circus. I'd taken my daughter to a circus. And a friend and her kids went, and we're sitting in there waiting for the circus to start. We were in a conversation about someone, and my phone had it in my bag, had dialed the number of that person, and it was on the answer machine.
That's happened to me.
Oh,
that sort of thing. It's like,
oh yes, I get it.
It wasn't awful, but it was something to make what did make that person think about an action they'd done.
Yeah.
But none of my business, none of our business, you know, but it was conversation.
Gossip stuff, yes.
Yeah.
That's
not,
perfect example.
Yeah, I suppose gossip, but not. Yeah, it was really,
yes.
oh my God. It was, wow.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff.
Oh, okay. Oh, yep, that's a perfect example. I agree.
Yeah, it's really bizarre.
Trying to put my mind back to one of those that's happened for me. I can't think of any right now.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I had my own stuff in that to think about and to focus on. And the other chickie had said more than I did anyway, but it was like she needed to sort of talk with, you know, think about things for herself. And it definitely gave the other person on the other end of that in that message, you know, for the message.
So the three of you got something out of it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been on the receiving end of something like that. And it was a phone call that came through, a pocket call, and it came through to my mum's phone, and my mum was not feeling well, and she said to me, can you check the messages, because I can't do it. And it was at a really, really emotional time for our family. And so I was listening to all her messages, and something in those messages revealed the truth to me about something that had been kept from me. And it was, none of those messages were meant for me. They were all on my mum's phone.
Yeah.
But it was something huge for me that I was like, wow, I was meant to hear that.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
A piece of the puzzle into this thing that was going on in my family that I needed to know about. And yeah, to this day, I'm like, wow, that was divine intervention that I heard that message.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do like how divine intervention works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah. I thank God for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're the one delivering the divine intervention, it's not always comfortable.
No.
I tell you,
it's not.
one of the things that flipped me back into was actually losing my temper with our netball team. And there were two lots of teams on the courts and a whole heap of spectators, and I just lost it with one of the girls that was on my team. And when I finished yelling, there wasn't anybody else left except me and her. They're all gone. I could, like, sometimes, and my rage came up because she was abusing this other girl, and it was like my natural instinct was to come and support this person.
Yeah.
But what happened out of all of that is that the girl that I was defending and the girl I was yelling at became best friends.
Wow.
And I was the one on the outer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know.
Everyone was scared of you, Bev. Like, oh no, if we do something wrong, she'll yell at us.
Oh no. My rage back then was actually all of the things that I'd kept stuck down and never had expression for, and then one thing would just, you know, it was the thing that took the cap off. And
it's you know, thinking about how I felt as a kid, you know, like you know, I sort of got humiliated a lot. So, you know, me, you know, in front of people all the time and different things. And so I was really self-conscious about mucking up and doing things wrong so that I wouldn't be humiliated in front of people. I hated it. That's why I never played sport a lot, because I was scared of making a mistake in the team, obviously, and crucial moment when we should be getting goals and I'm kicking them out the field or something, you know. So I just wouldn't. And I know for myself, I was always walking around embarrassed, really. That's how I felt all my life. Like I was walking around as though everyone was focused on me and they were all thinking horrible things and pointing and poking finger and, you know, all of that. That was sort of how I felt in me. So I was always mucking up in many ways because that was my fear. It was my big fear.
Yeah,
you know, and I've learned, like, we have to have humor now. Honestly, we have to. If we, you know, we just got to see it as humorous, because it's too debilitating when you start bashing yourself up with all that stuff, you know.
That self-talk that we do, especially as a teenager and a young adult, like, yep, was that a dog that barked?
Yes, sorry.
No, that's all right. Thought the timing was perfect. Yes. It just is so debilitating. I think that we could have some sort of, I don't know, something brought into schools that talked about that. You know, those are the way more important things than learning trigonometry.
Absolutely.
Or, you know, English history. I don't know. There's so many things that are in our curriculums that I've never used. Have I used geometry?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But life skills, we're just not taught them. And you've got to bumble your way through until you get to a point that you know them. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think that's it. That's the thing, though. Being okay with bumbling your way through to learn is a life skill in itself.
It is.
Well,
you know,
it is,
it's all in your attitude. It's all in the way you approach learning and how you deal with your own way of learning, how you know yourself. So if you're okay with, like, if you understand, okay, this is how I learn best and I'm okay with that, being okay with that is part of self-love, in my opinion.
I was just going to say, being kind to self.
Yes.
Yeah.
Self-love, you know, and when we can open ourselves up to that reality about ourselves and we can be okay with it. It's like rebuilding trust. I think a lot of mistakes that we make and being okay with that is about trusting ourselves that, okay, I made a mistake, I'll learn from that and I'll move on.
Yeah.
And the baggage that you're talking about, Mandy, that comes with that, the embarrassment is self-sabotage.
It is. Yeah.
100%. And it comes from the fear of how we will be seen after we've mucked up, after we've made the mistake or whatever. How are we going to be seen? Are we going to lose respect from people? Are people going to think we're ridiculous? You know, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
My point was really that it's a pity we're not given some of those tools back then. It's like we're not, well, I was never given any tools. It wasn't until I was in my 40s that I started to realise that anything was not kosher in my world.
Yeah.
It's like that video I was watching of the girl, her father did the opposite. He was celebrating her.
Yes, exactly.
And as parents, we think, oh gosh, if we do that, if we're going to be celebrating our children's failures, is that going to encourage them to then continue to fail? But it actually has the opposite effect, where innately we are programmed to want to succeed and grow and improve ourselves. So, and failing is part of that. Just naturally. So if we can learn to embrace it rather than judge ourselves for it, then we can, that learning and that growth happens even more rapidly.
And, you know, I've probably, you know, all the multi-millionaire people that I've ever listened to giving advice about how to get there and what to do and all the rest of it have all been bankrupt, lost money many times over before they hit the good time. And they learnt every time something from it. It's crucial in our learning to do that.
Yeah, but to be celebrated in doing that, instead of shamed about doing that, that's huge. I think that would be, I wish that had happened for me.
Same.
Me too.
Yeah, gosh. When I think about then, you know, it's like, holy hecker, how do we get through all that? We just do, don't you? I don't even know how. You just carry on each day living it and being in it. But, you know, it's not till later on, you know, now even, you look back and you think, God, that was pretty out there. Like heavy for a kid to carry that shit and to be treated that way. Not from my parents. They were beautiful, you know, encouraging and teaching me stuff. But and school's hard.
It is.
Like on students. And if you're not competitive, I was never competitive. I didn't have that competitive bone in me that I wanted to get into the, you know, sport and get all out there in it. I just didn't have that. So, I didn't.
My attitude towards school was always just survive it. Just get through it.
Yeah.
Keep going until the end and then it'll be over, you know, like that's how I felt. Yeah.
When I did my counselling course, they talked about from 14 to 21, that's the time when the astral plane descends. So this is in Steiner's work. And so it's all of those, all of the shadow aspects come to play. And, you know, sitting in a classroom when you've got all that shadow playing out is a really tough thing to do. I wish that we could stop school at around 15, go to work for a few years, go do something else, then come back to study. Because it's like when you're ready, you come back. Because the pressure that's put on kids at that age is huge.
Yeah, 100%.
It is.
Yeah, I met a guy who did exactly what you're talking about, Bev. He left school in year 10, actually probably a little bit earlier. He went out into the world and discovered himself. And in his early 20s, he decided that he wanted to be a lawyer. So he went back to TAFE and did his HSC.
Yep.
And got the grades that he needed to get into law school. And then he went into law school as a mature age student and studying law. And he's becoming a lawyer now. So, you know, people say, oh, you've got to study, you've got to like really bunker down and do well if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer or whatever. But no, there's more ways than one to skin a cat. Like there's many, many avenues open to people if they really, really want it.
If they want to do that.
And how, if you're not the type of person to know what you really want at that age, and you're being scared, you're being manipulated to know, like you've got to know, you've got to know, you've got to know.
Got to know your pathway.
Yeah.
No, you don't have any idea.
No.
Really. They're pressured into it too much, I think, now.
Yeah, you've got to
looking back
decide now when you're, you know, 15. Like it is really when they're 15, 16, they have to start deciding what they want to do, because they have to choose their subjects that they want to do to go into the HSC, because then the HSC will take you into uni. Yeah. And if you don't have the correct subjects to do what you want to do to get into uni, then you're not going to get in.
And how the heck do you know at that age? How do you know?
Yeah. How do you know?
No, you don't. You just don't. And, you know, that's why some people do go into their careers and they stick at it and they stay there, but they didn't actually want it and they didn't like it.
Yeah.
You know, but they stuck to it because that's what they chose. But, you know, I think the biggest, you know, when you look at some of the inmates, you know, those who are in prison, and they have probably done the biggest mucking up, maybe in their lives, who knows, to be in there. But, you know, they'll study and do lots and come out with all these degrees and, you know, all sorts of things. And they wouldn't maybe have had that opportunity, or didn't want the opportunity when they were in their younger years.
Yeah.
You know, they had things to do before then.
Yeah. Well, I think I was in my late 40s when I went and did my counselling course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think really I had my kids, and then it wasn't until I was in my, almost 40 before I discovered what I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I think
plenty of time. Like there's plenty of time. Once you get to 40, it's not the end of your life.
No.
If we can get over that shame feeling, you know, like that feeling of shame that, oh gosh, I'm so old and I'm pursuing this now. Like, am I doing the right thing? What am I, you know, like you question yourself when you're that age to pursue something that could be long term. You think, oh, how, you know, why did I wait so long to do? Like, there's so much that you can shame yourself for. And I think society shames
all the
particularly
time.
women.
Yeah.
All
the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being able to kind of ignore all of that and just keep going it builds strength, I think.
It does. And I think you just get to a point where you've got enough confidence in yourself at some point, however many years that it might have taken, but it gives you a bit of confidence to be able to go out and do what you need to do or want to do for a minute.
Yeah.
And try at least, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, gosh, I hated making mistakes. I still do, actually.
Yeah.
I still find it difficult sometimes to do something. I think for me now, the way that I see mistake for me personally is when I'm going against my own soul authenticity.
Yeah.
If I don't do that, that's when I know I've mucked up.
Yeah, that's why it feels wrong.
And the gauge is so strong now that I can't. It's like, and there was a point in there through the last few years where if I came anywhere near just out of balance in that integrity for self, I would burn up. It's like this burning from inside out. It was like it was burning it out before it even took off, which is really good. It was like, And I started noticing, I was like, oh, and then I started recognizing when that was happening, and I thought, this is good.
Yeah, that happens to me too. It's like, I think the last one was the shame that I felt about something. I can't remember what it was right now, but my whole body, my whole insides was just like on fire. So it was like really burning out the last of that. It was like, but when you're going through it, it's quite intense. Well,
it is
very intense.
No, it is.
Yeah. So I'm grateful for my physical body that can process that stuff through.
Yeah.
I look forward to getting something like that happening because I have it.
Yeah.
I'm still mucking up all the time. And then I get, like, if I get shouted at because I've done something, like, it's usually out of ignorance, or I'm just trying to forge ahead what I think is the right thing. And then usually at work, I'll get it in the neck because I'm doing something that I shouldn't be doing, because I'm still learning. I've only been there a couple of months, so I'm still learning. So I'm doing something that I think is the right thing, and then I get into trouble for it. I'm like, where was the burning when I was making the decision to do it, you know?
I think that's different. I think that's totally different.
But, you know, like, it's been good for me because I'm so hard on myself to be perfect and to get everything right, for people, you know, to rely on me, and having that reputation of being the sturdy one and the one that you can rely on and trust. And, you know, when you've got something that needs fixing, you go to Claudia and she'll sort it out for you, you know, that sort of role. And I can't be that because I'm in this new position and I'm still learning. And then when I do something wrong, and it's like, what are you doing? It's been good for me because I'm like, oh no, Claude, you just keep going. You're just learning. Like, because I've got that narrative now inside myself. I can be soft and I can be supportive of myself, and I can continue going and not let it break me, not let it, you know. I mean, I have cried a couple of times because I'm allowing myself to be sensitive, and I don't feel bad that I cry. I'm proud of myself that I can shed some tears over something that's overwhelming me or whatever. Because previously I would bottle it all up, and I would be, you know, the stoic Claudia. And seeing that I can express my feelings in the moment, I'm like, wow, that's huge. Like, that's a big growth.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And whereas that's before I would see that as a mistake. I would say, oh, you're showing your emotions in front of people. Like, I would see that as a mistake. But now I'm like, no, that's strength. You're there for yourself. You're allowing it to come out.
Yes.
Your body needs that right then.
Yeah.
You know,
for sure.
To let that energy out of your body
rather than storing it and stashing it down with the rest.
Till it explodes.
Exactly.
In a very inappropriate manner.
And I know that I'm trying to do the right thing. I know I'm not I'm getting into trouble for things that were honest mistakes. And as long as I'm okay with that, I'm like, everybody else can make their own judgments. I can't control what they think and how they deal with it.
I was just going to, I was going to say, how do they deal with you crying?
That day, I was having a really bad day. I didn't want to be there at all. And I got yelled at for something that wasn't anything to do with me. I was just in the wrong spot at the wrong time. And I was shocked because it was the first time that it happened, and I was shocked. I was like, wow, that's, you know, that wasn't for me, and why am I getting it in the neck right now when it's not directed at me? And then I went to a co-worker who she was sort of like this person that I used to talk to about like learning things there, and she was very giving of her information. So I went to her and said, this just happened, what do I do? Like, and she's like, oh, don't worry about it, like that happens here sometimes. And then I was overthinking it, and later on she came up to me and she said, are you okay? You know, when you're really tightly wound inside and someone's nice to you.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I just burst into tears and went, no, I'm not okay. And let it out. And she was like, oh, like you could see she wasn't expecting me to burst into tears. And it made her uncomfortable. And then she was like, do you want me to say something? And I was like, no, please don't do that. I can deal with it. Like, I want to deal with this myself. And she left it then. And then a couple of weeks later, I saw her and she asked me, how's it going? What have you done about it? And we had an adult conversation about it. And that, that day, she saw me in my vulnerability, and it didn't change her the way I thought it would change the way she was dealing with me and how she saw me, but it didn't. And slowly but surely we've kind of like gotten not closer, but more real with each other. You know, like the things we talk about with each other are a lot more real. And it's like she sees that I can handle it, and I see that she can handle it, because we shared that intimate kind of vulnerable moment together.
Good.
Yeah. And and I think that's because I really think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I've kind of been okay to be there in front of her now and not be embarrassed. Like, I don't see her and run away, or, you know, like my attitude towards it has been, well, you know, that's just life sometimes.
Yeah.
You just get overwhelmed and it comes out in water from our eyes, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that you don't run away from her, you don't feel embarrassed about crying, it changes everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I've accepted it about myself.
Yeah.
Which makes it easier for her to accept it about me as well, and just carry on.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, because being 51 years old now and never having that in my life, like I've never been that person that's been okay to cry in front of people. It's such a huge difference in my life, and such a massive change, that being on the other side of it and seeing how it works, like when you're okay with the tears, and you still show up to work, you still show up as yourself, you still continue to be fully present and all of that, and you're not running around and hiding from people and going, oh, I'm so embarrassed that I did that. It's so freeing.
Yeah.
So it feels like so freeing, you know. It's like I'm standing in my power, and I'm okay with whatever people say. I'm okay with it, because I'm okay with myself.
Accepting the vulnerability, and just being open to it and allowing it to be.
Yeah. And that was the little nugget of gold that came from making the mistake, being in the wrong place at the wrong time. You know?
A directive from God.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I'm telling you the story within like a 2-minute period, but it took a couple of weeks for that
to play out.
Yeah.
So you might not be burning up like Mandy and I are, but you're still getting it in the way that you get it. We all get things differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, well, for me, because I'm not out in the world so much anymore, I don't have the same triggers going on.
Yeah, right.
So it's only what's happening in me. There's not as many triggers. I'm not in the workplace. busing my clients. Most of my family are scattered to the winds. So
Yeah.
it's a whole different season of my life, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, so the way I could do it is by burning.
Mm.
But we still have stuff that we're processing through.
Yeah. And I
Mm.
Yeah,
think
for
that
sure.
the gift that you have of you guys have of burning up when you're moving away from your core,
Mm. Mm.
that's like the ultimate self-love to me. That's the ultimate self-love, that you have such a beautiful relationship with your body, that your body knows when it tells you something that you're going to listen.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's like the more you listen to that burning, the more it will happen, the more that relationship between you and your body will grow strong.
Yeah. And I think that's definitely true. And I know for me now, I observe the feelings more and I don't act on them as much. So I'm, it's not so much about having control either. I suppose it is in a sense, but I don't see it like that. I see it as being aware of them and then just not having the need to action them out because I see the bigger picture in it, So, and one of the, how do I put that? I don't know quite how to put it, but I was thinking probably one of the biggest things that triggers me is people poking nose in where there's when it's none of their business. Oh, that is the biggest thing, man. That's one thing I'll react on. I'm still like, just chill it out. But oh my goodness, like I'm parked in Pack and Save. This is one example, and it was through the COVID. We'd been locked down. My car warrant or the rego was done, so then they'd given us, like, it might have run out in June, but they were giving us till October to go and do anything about it. You were all right, so we're only driving to the supermarket and back, basically. That was it. Anyway, this man is standing outside in my car and he's staring at he was waiting for his wife to come out of this grocery shop, and he's standing there and he starts glancing at my, windscreen. I'm on the phone actually to Bev. We're having a bit of a convo in the car before I was going into the shop. And he's staring. And anyway, I finished the conversation with Bev, hung up, went to get out the car, and he's knocking on my windscreen. And he's indicating that was, and
like you didn't know.
I know, exactly. And it's just like instant, my heckles just go up, and I just want to leap at him out the window. Oh my God, I had to really sit there. I just wound the window down on his side, on the passenger side, and I said, we're in an exemption because it's COVID. Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. And I just felt like saying, none of your business anyway. Is it your business?
What was he going to do about it?
Oh, God knows. Just, because he's the correction police. Those people, they really get me.
Yes, you've made a mistake.
Yeah, that's it. Those ones, they have to point it out right in your face.
Point it out. Yes.
Yeah, I'm the good person. I'm the hero because I'm pointing it out. I'm mansplaining it to you.
Yeah.
You didn't know.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, that really gets me, those things. But I've learnt, I think now, hi ladies, all our viewers out there. We've got a hi, sending love from Palmerston North. Thanks, Joe. And Lisa's saying, beautiful ladies, thank you so much, resonates. Yeah. And I think all of us know what it feels like to muck up or to supposedly muck up. I mean, as we say, everything is really in its perfect place, isn't it? So even if we do, it's not actually a muck up. It's they're gold.
Yeah.
Not that it feels like that in the moment, but Oh,
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it in the moment. Like that day when I was crying, I was really overwhelmed. I was so overwhelmed. It's only now when I look back at what happened, and it stands out to me like as such a huge thing because I'm not a crier. I don't normally allow the feelings, particularly at work, because I spent 20 something years as a flight attendant at Qantas, and so I got very good at separating my feelings from my job. Because you get to work,
that would have fed into your perfectionism. Hey, on being an air hostess. Oh my goodness, immaculate.
Yes, definitely. And having a permanent smile plastered across your face, even when people are yelling at you, like you can't yell back. You have to have total control of yourself. So for me, being in a position where I was actually showing my emotions to a coworker was a massive thing. And at first I was confused and I was like, why did I do that? Like, what was going on for me? And then I was like embarrassed by it, like, Claudia, you lost control. Like, you put yourself out there in front of a stranger kind of thing. And then I was like, no, like, pat yourself on the back. Like, I'm now at this point patting myself on the back that I was wholly myself, integrated at a moment where usually I wouldn't be integrated. I would be completely separate from my feelings. I was completely integrated, and the emotion came and it expressed itself through me. And I'm like, no, Claude, that was a good thing. Like, you don't want to be separated from yourself. You want to be integrated with yourself. You want to be a whole person. And if something's happening inside you that's overwhelming you and it comes out in tears, and someone sees that, there's nothing wrong with you if they judge you.
No.
If they're in judgment of that, seeing that, of you expressing your feelings through tears, there's something happening over there. It's not happening to you. And that lesson, that realization for me was like, I feel like I've grown up. Like, Lord, you're there. Like,
when you bring both of yourselves together, all the parts together, you do become a grown up. But when we have all these different compartments that, will show that person that, and we'll show that person that, it's like bring out, what's that saying? You have to be yourself because everyone else is taken. It's like,
and the beauty of all of that is when you do that, when you show yourself to the world, you get reactions from people. And so those reactions you can then, because I used to blame myself for those reactions. I used to think to myself, because I was raised thinking that you had to care about what the neighbours were saying about you. And what I see from this now is that when those reactions happen, you see where a person is at. And so in yourself then, okay, that person can't handle it. And then if they continue to like avoid you, or I don't know, judge you or whatever, then that person just naturally stays away from you. And so you don't have to continually deal with that. And it's only the people that can deal with you or see the real you or are appreciative of the real you spend time with you. And so your circle works itself out naturally.
Does.
And then I see that as a positive thing. I think to myself, okay, well, that means that the people who want to spend time with me actually really like me for who I am. And I don't have to pretend.
That's right. Yes. It's freeing, eh?
Yeah, very.
And there's a part of yourself, when you go into, like, when you do muck up, and it's in those earlier years, I remember feeling sorry for myself. I'd go into a pity party because I'd mucked up, and oh God, poor me, because now everybody's like this about me, you know. And there's this feeling sorry for self because we've done it and mucked up. There's so many things that come into it, when you do it, like shame and all those things, like we were saying. But yeah,
that's just another program, though, isn't it? It's just another layer of society telling us that we're wrong for feeling that way.
Yes.
You know, and so that's where the pity comes in. It's like you're somewhere inside you, you know that it's your feelings, and that you can't help but have come out what comes out. You can't help it. And when you're trying to control it, you're spending all this energy on doing something to yourself that is a requirement from outside there. Because if you don't require that from yourself, it's the reaction of others that teach you, okay, this is wrong. I need to stop doing this. But when it's coming from yourself, you don't care. If the tears come out, the tears are coming out for a reason. Or if the yelling comes out, the anger's coming out for a reason. As long as you're not hurting another person, like physically or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it's coming out for a reason. And as you know, if we're there for ourselves and we're saying, okay, I understand why this is happening, then it doesn't matter what other people think. The only time we ever care really what other people think is because we're told you'll get ostracized, or someone won't love you, or people won't like you if you do that. And so then, you know, that's the fear of not being liked, or the fear of something bad happening to you, because
then you become a people pleaser, don't you?
Yeah.
You know.
I learned quite early on, because I'm a crier. I cry at the drop of a hat. And when there's something that's like really important to me and I need to confront something, I actually got to the point where don't take any notice of my tears. Listen to what I have to say, because my tears would just flow. I don't know. Never been
how
able
your body expresses itself.
It is how it expresses.
Yeah.
So I have to go, don't worry about the tears, just hear me. And I don't know how what their reaction is to that. I just know I've got to go, this is me, and I can't change that. I'm not changing it. That's who I am. And it's not weakness.
No.
No.
And the funny thing is, right, if I see someone crying, I want to hug them. That's my natural instinct, is to touch the person or hug the person, or, you know. But if I cry in front of people,
don't touch me.
Not now. I want to slap myself. Like,
I must admit, that was one of the lessons when I first started doing workshops, was do not touch a person when they're crying.
Totally.
You actually stop their flow.
Yeah,
you know, when someone else comes in to comfort you, they don't get to express all of that.
Yeah, right. That's a good tip.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it cuts them off straight away.
It does.
Just stops where they're at.
Yeah,
it's one of the hardest things I find.
As a facilitator, I can get quite like, don't touch her. You know, it's like, don't do that.
Yeah, me too.
You'd be doing that to me, Bev.
Hey?
You would be doing that to me.
Oh,
you'd be going, Claudia, leave her alone.
No, get in your own energy and let them do their own stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think sometimes I got quite bossy when I was running workshops.
Possibly needed, though. Needed.
Because
it's
important, though. It is important.
Yeah, and when you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah.
So, you know, and in the moment, I don't have time to be nice.
Yeah.
You know, it's like my focus is on the person here, not on what you're up to over there. It's like, just back off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I explain all that in the beginning of the workshop now, because that is what happens. And it's like, just don't touch them, just leave them to it.
And
And
it's not
you know, we all
personal.
know how
Yeah.
difficult it is to do that.
It's not personal either. Like if you're saying
No.
something to somebody like that, it's not personal to them. It's because you're protecting the process.
Yeah.
So
That's
the
right.
person can have the breakthrough. Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah, so we can agree we've had many breakthroughs from mucking up throughout life. That's for sure. All of us. And all these lovely people that are viewing. So that hour went like absolutely
5 minutes.
so fast.
It did. It was great.
Yeah, well, just about. I just jumped ahead a wee bit, really, but yeah. So I feel like, you know, like there's so much going on at the moment out there. I don't think anyone really knows what they're up to in respect to everything that's happening on the planet and the narratives and all the storylines that are running and all the stuff that's showing up and all the stuff that isn't showing up and all this thing. It's like everything's such a mishmash at the moment that there's so much, seems like there's so much mucking up at the moment, you know. And we all have opinions about it.
Yeah,
they are. They so are. And it's you know, I don't know. I think our next convo I'd like to have is about what's our business and what isn't. You know, because there's so many times I think, oh God, I just want to have a say in that, and then it's like, well, actually, none of your business, none of your business. But anyway, we'll make that a convo for next time, because it's man, there's some quirky little things that you can get into that are really just none of your business. And I think now, we come, you know, because there's this complacency I see as well around all the muck up that's going on, you know, and sometimes, well, maybe we need to be having more reaction to it, maybe, I don't know, but I think just be gentle on self anyway. If you're part of the muck up, you just got to be gentle on self and don't give yourself a hard time, because everyone else is going to do that for you. You don't need to join in.
True.
Really, it's just
And be gentle over the Christmas period.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
What are you ladies doing? Christmas.
I've got my family coming all the way from Paraburdoo.
Right. Your place. They're coming to you.
They're coming to me, They're like 2,000 k's of driving.
Wow.
I'm like, oh, tint. Yep. And my other granddaughter's coming from Ballarat as well. So it will be,
beautiful.
Family.
Yeah.
So that would be good.
Yeah. We're going away. We're gonna just us, the four of us, just me and the kids. We're gonna go and stay somewhere nice in the city for a few days, and we're gonna sit by the pool and sip cocktails.
Oh, very good. Good on you. Yeah. It's a good way to go end of the year.
Yeah. Just something like a little mini getaway. Yeah, we just need it, I think.
Yeah. And your kids are older now, whereas my grandkids are little. So it's like, you know, we're doing Christmas.
Yeah, same here. Macy's right into it. We're counting down the sleeps, you know.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
awesome.
Cute. So cute. Well, everyone, thank you everyone for viewing, all the viewers out there, and your beautiful expressions of love. And we will be here again in a fortnight. So have a beautiful, beautiful Christmas with family, and you know, take good care on the road. I was out there yesterday and the day before, and there's just some real crazies going on. People are just not mentally in the now. They're just not watching what's going on. So just take good care. And there's a lot of short-tempered people out there losing the plot. Honestly, I thought I was getting into an altercation with a couple up at the shopping centre up here. The two guys just parked right in the middle of the road, didn't let anyone through, having a yak. Knew we were all backed up behind them, didn't bother shifting or anything. They just carried on. Like, I sat there for 5 minutes and then I thought, actually, I'm not doing this. So I tooted, and one of them turned around and goes, stop that, stop that, stop that. And I was like, what? Yeah. I was like, okay, where are we going to take this then? Where does this go? But yeah, he got his son to go in and move the car, and just so out there.
Arrogant.
Entitlement, you know? Yeah, I don't know what it is actually, but it was really annoying for a moment.
All right.
Yeah. But you know, just be gentle with self and be safe. Like, honestly, you know, you never know what's going to turn into something if you say something to somebody. Just, you know, just be careful. Like I say, there's a lot of short-tempered people out there. Pressure, and always around Christmas, of course, with finances and things, people are stressed. Families aren't coming together, and you know, all that. So just send a lot of love out to the world and take good care. Thank you, ladies. It's been a lovely 2022 with you two and involved in this Love Speaks for the time we've had. It's been really lovely. I've loved it.
So high. It's been fantastic. Thank you, ladies.
Oh, and Merry Christmas to everybody, and we'll see you in the new year. I'm thinking,
yes, all bright and fresh and new.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Right. See you, ladies. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Lots of love.